Welcome to another edition of On the Spot. My name is Ronnie Wiley. We are on location here at the Fayette County Museum. Brad Colter. Brad, welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Brad, I am amazed at this facility here. How long have you guys been in this location?
We opened here about probably 4 months ago. About a year and a half was spent getting the property ready to be moved into. We spent about 6 months moving things, and we've been open here about 3 months.
So you guys have spent a lot of time preparing for this move. When you guys were looking for buildings, what needs did you need to have? You know, obviously enough space, but what led you to this building?
Well, Donna Schroeder, I think, had the original idea. It was her idea that we would get more into the downtown area, and this was close to the train depot, so the building was available. It took quite an amount of time to negotiate to acquire the building, and then probably about 2016 we actually started fixing it up.
Yeah, and that took a long time.
Yeah. It was in pretty rough condition, but it needed a lot, and as you can see, it's almost like a brand new building now.
Yeah, you walk in here and you get that feeling that this is a brand new building, that this was built for this building. Now, when you guys saw this, and you obviously had to have a vision of, okay, like right here we're in a cabin. I mean, this is a cabin inside this building. Did you guys have like discussions? Okay, in this room we're going to do this, in this room we're going to do that?
Yeah. Well, Donna was president at the time. It took quite a lot of negotiating between all the members and the people that are involved in the board of what would go where, and it mostly was about finding the right space for different things. Obviously, the car room that you'll see in a little bit, we wanted that out on the corner where you could really see it from the street, and most people will tell you that they're amazed when they drive by there at night and see the lights on the cars. It's a sight to see. Most of the people that come in say, I drove by and saw that and I wanted to come in and look.
Yeah, and so you've had people not just from Fayette County that come into this museum. You have people coming from all over.
Oh, yeah, we have lots of people. Just last Saturday, we had a group of 25 that came from all over Indiana with a car club, and we're contacted all the time from those kind of groups.
Now, do you guys still get artifacts from people from different eras? I mean, obviously, a museum, it's something that's ongoing growth-wise because, you know, time continues. How do you guys go through what you display and what you don't display?
That's a difficult part. We have a lot of people bring things in. Lots of people think things are more valuable and more important. In this building, the idea was that we would try to stick with relevant Connersville items as much as possible.
Okay.
But people bring stuff in every Saturday, and although everything's cool, sometimes it doesn't fit for us.
Now, do you guys have a rotation where we'll display this for a little bit and then bring new things in?
Well, we've been here such a short time, we haven't done any of that yet, but I think that is the intention in the future.
Yeah, see, I'm impressed with this. I'm impressed with this cabin. Is this a restored cabin from somewhere, or explain that? I mean, it's amazing.
I'm not sure the location that it came from, but it was originally a barn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this was set up in the same manner in our old museum. And so we had to take it apart log by log, rock by rock, and move it over here and put it back together.
But that was
fun.
The
age of our group I'm probably one of the younger people, so it was a pretty good undertaking for a group of older men. But little by little, we got the job done.
Yeah, and you talk about that, and I know Richard Stanley very well. I mean, the guy is, he can go.
Yeah, he sure can. He laid a lot of the block.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'll just mention a few names. I want to make sure to include some people. You know, Judge Flom he kind of spurred the cabin project, the moving, and planned it out. And Dale Strong and I and Bob Martin and a whole group of people. And I want to make sure to mention Joe Menerick. He chaired the museum committee to rebuild the building.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy.
Joe spent a lot of time here working on that.
Yeah, he's one of our guys. Yep. Makes me look good behind the camera there at the ball games. So how does someone get involved because I'm sure you guys work on volunteers?
Well, one of the things, we've been so focused the last couple of years on getting moved and getting this place open. Now one of our focuses will be growing, because it takes a lot of people to run a place like this, to be open and man it. And
well, yeah.
We're looking for anybody that has the time to volunteer. We will find a place for you to help.
Yeah, and how do they get in contact?
Well, they can contact me. I'm pretty easy to find at the utility office. we have a Facebook page. You can contact us there.
Fayette County Museum Facebook.
It's Historic Connersville.
Historic Connersville. Sorry about that. So and again, this building, from the outside, you think, it's really, but you guys have really maximized the space.
Just a few months ago when I took over as president, somebody said, "What are you going to try to do?" And I said, "Find a bigger building." Already we have filled this place up, so it's a challenge to be able to find new areas to display things.
Yeah. Well, when they said that, they're like, "Okay, you're going to tear this thing down by yourself,
right?
And
right.
put it back up." Well, show me some of this other building here, Brad. As I mean, this is huge.
If we can move this way, Donna Schroeder's in here in the schoolroom. We have a lot of artifacts from the old township schools, and she can tell you about that.
Amazing. As you walk in here, you kind of, we come back in time, Donna, with that cabin. Now we're kind of getting a little modern, but still have that historic feel to it. I feel a school spirit in here.
Well, absolutely. We're trying to, we're trying to get something from all of the schools that are now gone, because a lot of them are gone, and people have been very generous and brought in a lot of stuff. We have things from mid 1800s up into actually some pretty current stuff from the high school.
That's amazing. Mid 1800s. I can't even keep things from a couple of years ago, and somebody keeps something from the mid 1800s.
Well, and people are now seeing that maybe they had it in a Bible or they had it in a trunk, and all of a sudden it makes more sense to share it with everybody than to just keep it to yourself.
Absolutely. And over here you see the orange. We got I'm assuming that's from the Orange School.
That is the Orange School scoreboard.
They must have been a good basketball team, winning 40-3.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Maybe all the lights don't work, but actually, that's I believe they bought that when the school, when the gym was built in 1939. So that is a piece of real history. And
Yeah.
then it was moved into the grade school and then brought here. So.
Yeah, so you got orange over here, and it looks like there's another. I'm not recognizing.
Carolina and Fairview are kind of over there, and obviously we had a lot more stuff from Orange because it was still at the school when they closed it, so it was easy to transport that stuff. And then we have Harrisburg, and which is now Fayette Central, but.
What got you, Donna? What got you involved? And I mean, this is a place that, as I walk in, it's my first time here. As I walk in, it's like, wow. I mean, your eyes light up. I'm sure you feel that every day.
Absolutely, and that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
But I always loved history,
Yeah.
and so I just, when my kids were old enough that I didn't have to deal with them all the time, I joined HCI, and then of course. Things just went from there, and but we're really happy to be here. This is a great place, and you want to see some of the other?
Absolutely.
Over there we have manufacturing, and a lot of things from factories that were here and aren't here anymore, and some from things that are still here, and then we have textiles. Some of these date back to the 1800s, too. Things that were manufactured here. There's a coverlet from 1848. Lots of sewing machines from different eras. This is in 1850s. And then we have our military area, which we're really, really proud of.
Oh, yes.
Everything from Civil War. We did have some 1812 soldiers too, but we don't have a lot from them. But we do have from Civil War, a lot of Civil War, a lot of World War I and II, and we have some Korean War. We're kind of working on Vietnam now to try to get some stuff.
And when you say you try to get some stuff, do you, ask the community if you have anything you would like to donate?
Yeah, we put it on Facebook, I mean, I'm that age, so I kind of put the word out amongst my friends. If you have something that you'd like to share, we'd really like to have it. So.
Amazing. I mean, you talk about loving history, and I think we all get caught up in that because I think we forget sometimes. At least I know I do. I forget how things were, and when I come to a place, even stuff that's before my time, wow, you can't help but almost feel that time.
Right. And when you think about when we take kids through, I always remind them that their great grandmothers didn't just go in the kitchen and turn the stove on. She had to go out and get the water and get the wood, and things have changed. We have it pretty easy today.
Oh yeah, I always complain about doing laundry, but at least I didn't have to beat my clothes against a rock. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have a really cool old. It's at the Canal House, which hopefully we'll do tours of it at some point for you guys. But we actually have a Connersville built hand cradle washing machine down there too.
Wow. Now you talk about genealogy. Do you keep track of people that were born here, or is that just the courts?
That's one thing that I'm really working on right now is our family history section, and it'll be up there in the lobby. We would love for people to bring copies of their family's histories and how their relationship to Fayette County. And so, in fact, we're sponsoring along with the DAR, a workshop this Saturday, a genealogy workshop to get people started. So yeah, we're hoping that's gonna be a draw too.
Yeah. Again, this is amazing. As you're talking, I'm looking. I see the sailor hats here. Again, you talk about the textile. That's what we were, what we were big on. And I'm seeing some of this stuff here. It's amazing. Any words to anybody who may want to get involved here? What would you say to them?
Just come on down. We're here on Saturdays right now, and we'd love to have you come down, meet us, and we're a pretty nice bunch of people.
I think so. I mean, you've complimented me a few times and off air, and I'm already in love with you. I think you're the best. Brad didn't compliment me that well, Brad. Yeah. And this right here.
This is all Native American articles from here in Fayette County mostly. We have some from neighboring counties, but it's mostly from here.
I'd like to tell you just a second about the history of the museum. You see behind you here, we have a picture of Jesse Reynolds. The original museum for Connersville was started by Jesse Reynolds. Well, at the time that he started it, Connersville didn't really have a history. So it started out more of the natural history and Indian artifacts and kind of morphed into Connersville history as we went along. But he was the guy with the original idea. The original museum was in the Junior High South building on the top floor. And then eventually the school probably kind of wanted it out of there, so they bought a building over on which we call the Reynolds Museum. Harry Smith manned it for most of its period of time. And then eventually we moved to the Vine Street location we were at for 20 years before we came here.
Right. And, and here's the thing that's amazed me, being here, checking this out. When you think of Connersville history, you think of the cars. And we talked about the cars earlier, Brad, about people seeing that. And so I expected to see just nothing but cars. I didn't expect to see what I've seen in here. So this museum is much more than just the car manufacturing days. There's a rich history here in
Sure,
Connersville.
and the cars get people in the door a lot of times. But then we get them in here and show them everything else, and they're just amazed at what Connersville did over the years.
Here with Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, how are you, sir?
Good.
Bob, I
Good.
forget your last name.
Martin, Bob Martin.
Bob Martin, you know a lot about buggies here.
I know a little bit about these buggies. This is a 1906 Rex buggy, and they had the shield. It was like an option for them, and they put this shield over it for riding in cold weather, and that shield cost $15. That covered the whole buggy.
Wow. And then back then, $15 was, kind of a
lot of
premium.
money, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how they stayed warm, I'd like to walk over here and show you. I'll pull this out. But this is how they stayed warm. This had a tray in it you pull out, you put hot coals in it, and that was your heater. It just kept your feet warm.
Wow.
These buggies.
Probably better than the heater in my car. And then we got the
1870 McFarland buggy. McFarland started building buggies in 1856, and these buggies here, compared to these, had different tires, wheels on them. These here was steel on these.
Yeah.
And he eventually then went to building automobiles.
Yeah. And we have some, and again, this was all here in Connersville.
All in Connersville, yes.
Do you know what led him to go to the automobiles? Was it because that's where the future was at, or?
That's where the future was at, yes.
All right. As we walk over here, Bob, if you want to lead the way, as again, this is what people, when they think of the past of Connersville, as we see Richard Stanley come into the picture, we think of cars. And Richard, you've been on the show before talking about the history of the Connersville manufacturing. Now we're seeing the product of that. Richard, you want to explain to me a little bit about this McFarland?
This Accord.
An Accord. See, I didn't. You guys are the experts. The Accord.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful piece of machinery.
Yes, the real important thing about this, it had front-wheel drive. And in 1937, it was the only American car with front-wheel drive, and there wasn't another one until 1966 when the Oldsmobile Tornado came out. So this was way ahead of its time. It had lots of features. It had kind of almost the forerunner of an automatic transmission, and a flathead V8 engine. This car was very, very roadworthy. As a matter of fact, we do drive this occasionally.
Bob, do you drive it?
Yes, I've driven it. Richard has driven it.
So, yeah, and Bob can tell you some more of the features of it.
Yeah, this Accord was designed by Gordon Burig, and he wanted to make this different. He wanted a sleek automobile. He put the headlights on it. He didn't want them sitting on the fenders like most cars was. He found a way to bury them in the front fender, and there's two cranks on the inside, and you crank the headlights out when you do that.
Oh, wow.
And he also didn't want the door hinges sticking out on the car, so he designed it so they set inside. And he wanted the car to set low, so he removed the running boards on them. And every car had running boards on them. He didn't want the gas cap sticking up, so he buried that and hid that also.
So a lot of things that we take for granted today,
Yeah.
back then.
Right, he didn't want a hooder on them and on it.
Wow. So then we got the McFarland over here, Richard. This looks like a very, very luxury vehicle.
1924 McFarland. It was for the very wealthy people, and this has a 6-cylinder engine, but it has 18 spark plugs. So it's a dual ignition. On one side of the engine, you have a magneto that fires 2 sets of plugs. On the other side is a distributor that fires 1 set of plugs. And control on the steering column, you can fire 1 set or 2 sets or all 3 sets at once. And so only the very wealthy could afford a car like this.
Yeah, I don't know if I can afford it now. I mean, that thing looks very, very impressive. And then, of course, the Lexington. We got the Lexington right here. That's, from what I remember, from what coming in here, that was the car.
And well, Lexington was a mid to upper mid-price car, and the company started in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's how it got its name. They came to Connersville in 1910. They needed more space, and we learned about it and built them a 2-story factory building, and they built cars here for 16 years. So it was a real good investment. And this car is also a 6-cylinder engine, 6-cylinder overhead valve. It was a peppy engine for its day, and cars with this engine won the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. It really dominated the Pikes Peak Hill Climb the first half of the 1920s. So it's really a very good engine.
This car is amazing. We got one more over here, and we have this is the Empire, the 1913 Empire. Now I'm looking at that doesn't look like any regular standard light.
This is not the light that you're accustomed to. This is acetylene light, and the tank for the acetylene gas is on the running board. And if you ever have to have the lights of an evening, you would have to stop the car and turn the gas on and then light a match and light your headlights. And then you hope that you don't have too much wind the rest of the time. They really seldom ever drove at nighttime, so these would not be used very much. This car is 106 years old and has never been restored.
Wow.
The paint.
That's amazing.
Paint is original, and they use a paint varnish mix, and it really flowed together very nicely. You can only a few places see brush marks because they didn't spray paint for another 12, 14 years, and so this is really unique in that the car has not been restored.
Where did you get all these cars from?
Well, various places, but this one we bought at auction, at the Cruise auction in Auburn, Indiana. The Lexington came from Indianapolis for a person that had a Lexington collection. The McFarland we bought through from Dean Cruise at Auburn, Indiana. And the cord came from California. So you don't find these very often. You had to look for them wherever they're at, and so we're very fortunate. We're blessed to have them.
This is amazing. I mean, come on in. This is, I tell you what, you can spend all day here, but there's so much more to this museum, Historic Connersville, right here in Connersville. Come on out there and check it out. Here in the front lobby, as you walk in, again, very, very impressed with this facility, Brad.
We are very proud of it. I mean, this is a place that you walk in here and it just, the pride that I have for Connersville and Fayette County, every time I look around in here, it just makes my heart beat fast.
And it's not just you guys that are presently working. We're talking about people from the past. We're talking about Reynolds, and we're talking about people from the past. We're standing in front of some people that has made a notable contribution to historical Connersville. Tell me about these people.
Well, this is Willie Wells. Everybody knows Willie.
Oh, yeah.
The building here belonged to him, and they made us a very nice deal that allowed us to be able to put some money in the place and make it nice again. Maybe Donna can tell you a little bit about the Sefton ladies.
This is Marie and Hilda Sefton, and they were sisters. Neither of them ever married. They lived in their family home that their dad built until they both passed away. And they probably were our biggest benefactors ever, and we owe them a great debt of gratitude. So.
This is Mr. Huffmeyer, Mr. and Mrs. Huffmeyer. They made the museum on Vine Street possible.
Oh, right.
And that allowed us a nice long life over there in that facility. Plus, they've donated money that's in trust that we're able to use to help with this place and other projects that we have.
Good.
I wanted to tell you just a minute before I forget. There's so many people that helped us get here. Without these people, we wouldn't be here. But we have a lot of good board members. I know I'm going to leave some out, but I wanted to let you know we had a crew of women and men that packed all of this stuff. You look around and see how much stuff we have. Yeah. They packed all this stuff and got it boxed up and brought over here, and then we moved it and unpacked it. Donna Scott, Mary Dalton, the Nobbies, the Flums. Judge and his wife, just a great bunch of people that worked really hard to get this place to where we could get it open.
Any other?
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Not be unaware, but yeah.
I apologize to all the people we forgot.
Mike and Pat Tressler. And I'm trying to think if there was anybody else, but they were numerous, and they worked real hard to do that. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys, again, looking for people to continue on this legacy.
Right.
Very much so.
Yeah, and how do they get in contact with you, Brad?
They can reach me at the utilities, and we have a Facebook page is a good place to get a hold of us. We can be messaged there.
We're open on Saturdays now from 10 to 4 right now, and it'll be extended later, but, stop in and see us, and that might even make you more excited about helping, because you'd see the you'd get to meet us and you'd get to see the facility. And
Yeah, and speaking of me and you guys, they made me feel very, very welcome in here. Come on in and check out this wonderful display of history of Connersville and Fayette County. Very, very impressive. I'll be back. Hopefully you'll come back too. Brad, Donna, God bless you guys. Thank you very much. Of course, to Richard and Bob as well. Great to have you guys. Come on out here to historical Connersville. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. Check it out. We'll check you out next month on The Spot.